So in this video we're going to look at recording in some kind of melody or improvisation using the arrange window for the Next to Me track. So I've just laid down some bits and pieces here that I intend to use. There's a few ways that you can record into this, but let's just kind of experiment with a few and just show you my kind of preferred way. So firstly you need to create a track. So in order to create a MIDI track or an audio track, just right click and then come down to audio or come down to MIDI and press create and you're away, okay? If you want to delete any of these tracks, just select it so it's highlighted and press the delete button. Now I've gone ahead of time and I've created this track here. The instrument that I'm using is this one here. So I've come to instruments, I've come down to tension, come down to synth lead, and then I've created this epic grain lead. I've just double clicked on that and it's assigned itself, and you can see that down here in the devices. So let me have a little listen to this. Okay, so I've turned the volume down just by coming up to here and just make sure it's turned down. It's quite a loud synth. So with this in mind, the melody that we're going to be using is for Next to Me. It's in A minor. A minor is a really nice scale on the keyboard. It's basically all the white notes starting and finishing at A. So here's where we're at so far. So we can go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A. That's a bit high. But the notes that we're going to be using for this, I'm just playing around with these kind of notes. So I've got A, G, and then down to F, and then E, and then I use a D as well. But mostly it's just bouncing off the A note. So you'll find them drinking at the table or something like that. I can't remember the words, but it goes. And it's just those three notes. Okay, we've got a few other bits. It doesn't matter if you get it perfect. We're just kind of experimenting with playing in. This is a bit more challenging, and it suits me to do this in the arrangement view because it's quite a long clip. It's not like a 2-bar loop or a 4-bar loop. It's quite a long clip. It suits me to record things like this straight into the arrangement view, okay, and edit it from the arrangement view. Let me show you a few things. Now, we have this loop region here and we can move this around, and what you're going to notice is up here you've got the start point of the loop. So if we move it around, and then we've got the length of the loop. So if we shorten this, we can see that actually it's quite short. I like to use looped regions for the punch in, punch out capabilities. So if we want to practice something, we'll turn the loop button on, and then when we play it, let me just show you, it will just keep looping on itself. And it goes back to the beginning and so on. So it just keeps looping. But when I'm recording, I like to use these punch in and punch out buttons. And what this basically means is when it gets to the beginning of the loop, it will start recording. Even though I've pressed record, it will only start recording when it gets to the beginning of the loop. And it will stop recording when it gets to the end of the loop. It will just carry on, just allowing me to kind of just record that segment. So if I'm practicing, I'll just turn on the loop and I'll play over it until I get it absolutely right. And when I come to record, I'm just going to turn these on, okay? Once again, if I don't like it, I'll just delete it and I'll start again. So let's give that a go. So we'll kind of come a couple of bars early. I think we're all set up. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. We've kind of got everything set up. We've got record activation on, so we don't have to worry too much about that. And because I'm using my Ableton push, it kind of instantly puts it into record activation mode. But for yours, obviously, you will need to make sure that's on. I think I've said everything I need to. Let's press record. Remember, it won't start recording until I get to this button here, and let's just see what we can get. I've got my quantize settings still on. So if you remember, our record quantizing is still on, and it's set to 16th notes. That's quite useful to have. You don't need it on, of course, if you're feeling confident. And actually, for melodies, you might find that it's actually better with it off, but I'll leave that up to you. Here we go. Okay, and you saw that it came straight out punch in, punch out mode. There's a few wafty notes there, but mostly it was okay. Let me just select this clip, come down to the note view, and remember, because we're doing this in the arrange view, if I tab over to the session view, you'll notice that it hasn't created any containers for me, so it's basically only editable in here. An interesting thing though, if I want to take this into the session view, I can use the copy and paste one. So I can right click and I can press copy, or I can click and then press tab, and I can actually just drop it onto one of those. So now I've actually got a version of it inside of my session view, which is quite interesting. And we can leave it there. So let's go tab back. And let's have a little listen. Before I let you guys crack on and have a go for yourself, let's have a little listen and see what it sounds like. So turn the punch in and punch out buttons off. Select down here so I get my playhead ready, and then press the space bar. Oh, that's a bit dodgy right at the end there. Remember, because yeah, this one not quite right actually. It's probably, I can't remember if it's just before or just after. But remember, if I want to delete that, it's only deleting it here. If I came back and you look at this just before bar 10, and I come back here, and you'll notice that just before bar 10 it still exists. So any editing that you do, remember that they will not update here, okay? But I do need to look at that last bar. That was a bit wafty and I need to kind of do it. Remember, we can just keep practicing. If I don't like this, I can just press delete and it's gone, it's out of my life. And we can start again and we can try the punch-in rules again. So have a go, get that one down, and then next lesson we'll look at a few more improvisation techniques and record in a few patterns to kind of have a little play around with.